This is I Love Black People Radio on HUR Voices, Sirius XM Channel 141. I Love Black People is more than a radio show. I Love Black People is a call from our ancestors to protect us from racial profiling all across the world. Go to iloveblackpeople.com and become a member today. Membership empowers you to live fearlessly and protect Black people globally from racism and xenophobia. Join us today and become a member of our global network with an online global green book with Black-owned and Black-friendly businesses to protect you and your community. Membership is free, and with you, we will become 10 million strong worldwide. I am because we are. Special thanks to AFLAC for supporting I Love Black People Radio.
Greetings and welcome to another edition of I Love Black People. So thankful for everyone joining us, and we wouldn't be here without you. So today we're going to discuss something very important. It's work that we've been involved in as I Love Black People. Again, as many of you know, we're a startup, and our whole focus is protecting Black people globally from the harms and humiliations of racism and Afrophobia. And we define Afrophobia as the irrational fear and hate of Black people globally, of African descent, those over 1.5 billion people globally being mistreated. That, there are solutions that we can actually take. There's ways that we can protect ourselves. And as an engineer is my background, as well as my co-founder. And so we've decided to use our talents to leverage to leverage solutions to these problems using a model much like the original Green Book by Victor Green, where it identified safe places. So we literally have a app that we definitely encourage everyone to download that allows you to recommend Black-friendly locations in 8 key categories. And we say 8 key categories, meaning that if you're dealing with these particular verticals or particular areas of interaction, you want to make sure you get it right. So one of those areas is healthcare. So out of the 8, one is healthcare. You don't want to get a racist doctor. That can be a big problem. So these decisions that you make are critical. Or places to stay, of course. You don't want to stay someplace when you close your eyes, you have to be concerned with people trying to harm you. So again, we're calling out to all those who listen to the show to recommend as many of these type locations, businesses that are Black friendly. We're now up past 30,000 such locations throughout the world. And we're going to really be focusing a lot of our energy in Washington, D.C. as a capital city, as well as we're going to be spending time in Johannesburg, South Africa. I'm currently in South Africa. It just left Zimbabwe. Our offices are in Washington, D.C. and Zimbabwe for I Love Black People. And we're actually, we've developed a billboard to educate people on the issue of Afrophobia. As I said, our mission is to protect Black people from the harms and humiliations of racism and Afrophobia. And we had initially had xenophobia, which oftentimes made people confused about particularly what are we talking about as far as xenophobia, because it's quite broad. But what we really decided to do was really be very specific. You could be in Africa, you can be in Europe, you can be in South America, or North America, and you'll see that people of African descent, Black people, are treated differently. And we wanted to make sure we educate and actually talk about how it's not acceptable for anyone, including Black folks, to harm Black folks. And we want to make sure we're clear about how we can do something about it. And all our methodology with technology, our purpose is to literally empower the members and the folks that we come in contact to basically protect themselves and their community. Again, there's no savior mentality here. We're not, no one's coming to save us but our Lord and Savior, right? So for us, it's an issue of how do we give as many people the tools that can help magnify their ability to help themselves and help their family, help the community. And we think through technology, these digital platforms such as apps and websites, and even the digital communications like XM radio, that we can leverage these tools to empower ourselves in ways that we never could before. So instead of waiting for elections or government or religious groups or philanthropists. Our responsibility is to ourselves and our community, and we're going to make sure that we make the differences that we need to make. So this summer we're going to be focused on a particular campaign that we actually had started. We I had actually had a good friend of mine, a member of a fraternity called Omega Psi Phi fraternity, where we actually started the first Black-led super PAC called 1911 United. And a part of that, what we did was, besides help President Obama get reelected, this is back in started 2011, and again, people disagree on what President Obama did for Black people, particularly specifically. But what we said was that no matter what happens, we're not going to let the first Black president be a one-termer. So we said that we a lot of us basically didn't quit our jobs, but we stopped focusing on our jobs and actually focused on making sure this guy kept his job. And we said he was the best president ever in the history of the United States. Well, now that being said, he still is. But that being said, that's not a very high bar. We know that American presidents have probably committed more crimes against humanity than any other country in the world. We look at the slavery, the amount of wars, the proliferation of weapons, drugs, trafficking human beings through slavery. That's not a high bar. So, but what we did say is that we need to take this in our own hands, and that we may not remember how much money we were going to make if we had just did our jobs and without taking off, but we definitely would remember if the first Black president was a one-term president. So, with the help of so many wonderful people throughout the country, we mobilized people to volunteer and help out in that. And again, when you win, it's what they say, victory has so many fathers and mothers, but losing is a bastard or by themselves. Now, again, I'm probably butchering these things, but that being said, y'all get my point. He won, and it's kind of like history reflects as if it was inevitable that he was going to win. But if you really focus back in that time period, the economy wasn't going very well still. There was a lot of things that hadn't happened that people had, put on his shoulders, and no matter what was going to go on, we said we're not going to let that happen, and we didn't. And to be candid, Black women outperformed every demographic 2 election cycles in a row. They outvoted everyone, and only other folks that didn't vote as much that came in second place that's never talked about was Black men. So Black women were number one, and their brothers, husbands, fathers, were number two for the Democratic Party. But if you look at the history of the Democratic Party, that's another low bar. It's very problematic. So, with that being said, we don't wait for politicians. I love Black people. Different from a super PAC is literally a group of people with a huge idea, and we're trying to do as many scalable solutions to make that idea come in fruition to create this global safety net. And as we've been doing that, one of the things that we decided to do that was very similar to the issues we were dealing with back with the super PAC was youth gun violence and the fact that our children are being murdered in the streets. And so what we said is that we wanted to continue some of that work. We did that in back in 2013 after Barack Obama was reelected, and we used that as one of our issues because he had brought it up as one of his concerns. And we actually did a bus tour that traveled throughout the United States and basically elevating and amplifying activities of grassroots organizations already doing the work. And we actually went to Chicago for I want to say about a month, where we stayed and worked with a group called Ceasefire in Chicago. And actually, we did morning visibility. We knocked on doors, recruited volunteers for the organization. We had yard signs. We actually in the afternoons went to the different community businesses to let them know about what the work that was going on, and we basically used that as an opportunity to leverage our ability to organize throughout the battleground states for election campaign, to organize around an agenda that was important to our community, and we made sure that was done. With that being said, again, here we are dealing with the issue still of gun violence. And instead of us driving around, with the one we did with the super PAC, we actually went from DC to Pennsylvania to Ohio to Illinois to Mississippi to Louisiana. I mean, I think even stopped in Georgia. So we actually, took on a lot of miles on the road, which is great. At the same time, one of the things you don't get a chance to do when you're moving that fast and moving that much is to focus. And so this year, this time with the with the startup, I Love Black People, what our focus will be on is in the DMV area, the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area. And our focus will be youth gun violence again. And we're going to be targeting ways that we can leverage technology. And we're our local partner that's a super genius. Like this brother, I was born in 1969 and he was born in 1969 too. So shout out to all the Gen X's. It's not over until it's over. We still here. We're here for the Gen Z. We're here for the millennials. We're here for the baby boomers. We're that bridge. It's on our shoulders. We got to carry it. You see how the millennials was brother LeBron James. He tried to make it, didn't get there. We got to get there. We all getting older, but in the area of wisdom and commitment to our people, we're getting wiser. So unlike athletics, there's certain genres of activity that actually age will make you enhance your abilities and skills. So again, there may not be no trophies or awards for the work that we're doing on behalf of our communities, but again, we're going to see you at the championship. So with that being said, our focus this year is, again, eliminating gun violence, not making it better, easier, but actually eliminating gun violence. And we partnered with, again, my 1969 brother Ronald Moten, who's been doing work even before with the Peaceaholics, Al-Malik Farrakhan with the ceasefire in Washington, D.C., and we look at this as a way to set the stage, not for just the DMV or the Washington, D.C. area, but we're going to be reaching out to our members in over 230 some cities. Like this, what we're doing is literally just a way, as a pilot, as a project that we're projecting throughout the world, that what people in business, what people who are organized, people who are interested, they can get together and not wait for somebody, but literally get together and use technologies and strategies as tools to stop our babies from being killed. Full stop. When we talk about this, they often try to vilify our babies by saying they're the shooter, but our babies are the ones getting killed. And as the adults in the room, we're not going to tolerate our babies getting killed by anybody. That's including the police. We're not tolerating any more of our babies being murdered. And when we talk about illegal gun crimes, you're talking about crimes that have many violations before somebody's actually shot. The obtaining of an illegal gun, that's illegal. The possession of the gun is illegal. The transporting that gun, the shooting that gun, the shooting at a person of that gun, the shooting at a person and killing someone. These are all things that break laws that we're organizing, mobilizing as many people as possible, targeting Washington, D.C., but leveraging the global context of getting serious about empowering each other to stop this. And one of the things that Ronald Moten brought up was that the use of content influencers. So right now, so much of the negative things that we see in the street is being amplified in the media. And it's not just, I was about to say just social media, but we've seen violence being amplified even in the news. When you talk about what's going on in Ukraine and sending more weapons, you don't hear people talking peace. You hear people talking about types of weapons platforms. What's going on in Sudan? All you hear is about more war and more people shooting each other. You hear about what's going on in Haiti. Throughout the world, Black people and the use of weapons is being in many ways amplified. And you'll see experts talking about how more weapons are needed to solve problems. And we're very clear weapons are not a solution. They're part of the problem. And once weapons get involved, the likelihood of a good outcome becomes even more problematic. So again, and some people might challenge that and say, well, you need to stop bad people. Well, again, if you're, one of the things I've dealt with, just having a concealed and carry, when you're afraid and you're using guns, which many of us, have or possess, that's not making the world a better place. That's a symptom of a bigger problem. So again, I would assert the use of weapons and in any capacity, legal or illegal, is a symptom of a world that has a real problem, and that problem most likely won't be resolved with just getting more guns. And that being said, what we're organizing with the support, as many of you can hear my voice, is that we want to identify some of these content creatives in social media and different areas where we can start doing a better job as the adults in the room of incentivizing positive, uplifting content. We don't want any more young brothers who get locked up for, carjacking folks, and then the first thing they get is an iPad for some type of or tablet to get educated on, and they next thing you know they're using it to check out Grand Theft Auto. Now again, am I saying Grand Theft Auto is again entertainment? Is that something we should prohibit? No, what I'm saying is that there's got to be other content out there. I've seen people recently talk about the Looney Tunes and the Bugs Bunny cartoons where, people would get hit with anvils and blow up and things like that. Now, did that make people go out and shoot and blow up folks? What I will say is, if we really think about it, is that what we want our children to be exposed to? Seeing animals blow each other up? Like, what type of entertainment what seeds are we really planting with that? Now, I'm saying that as somebody who's a Gen X, who actually grew up on Sesame Street, okay? And on Sesame Street, they didn't blow nobody up, and everybody was treated with a level of kindness. Now, I did grow up on some Mr. Rogers and Captain Kangaroo. Now, I'm dating myself, and maybe some of those particular genre activities, maybe there's some subliminal messages or something underlying there that was problematic. But I will say this, that there are we're being fed, images, we're being fed messages that may not be conducive to our peaceful resolution of issues and problems. And that exposure has a consequence, and that consequence will be paid by the community. And so there's people who are literally making lots of money off all this. And you can, what they say, follow the money. When they were talking about making us take the COVID vaccines, they said, follow the science. I think in a capitalist society, which is problematic, you probably need to follow the money too. And if you follow the money, you understand, who's benefiting from the crisis that we all are facing collectively. And again, as it relates to gun violence, it's been, unfortunately, the victim is also considered the villain. So the young child is actually vilified as well as the one who's really the victim. Again, we shouldn't allow or even project that, teenagers are running communities. Again, that's something that's going wrong with us as adults. So again, I think even if you don't have kids, again, I don't have any teenage kids. So, that doesn't, absolve me as a responsibility as one of the adults in the community to make sure that things go well. So in many of the things that we're proposing, our fundamental part of this is that everyone has an opportunity to support and be a part of this campaign, of this initiative to love and protect our children. And so our work in the nation capital is not in somehow limited or exclusive to Washington, D.C. There's capitals throughout the world: Kampala, Harare, Pretoria. Throughout the world, there are capitals: Abuja, Port-au-Prince, and we want to make sure that all our people, no matter where they are, their children are being protected. So we want to take the learning parts of what we're doing this summer in Washington D.C. and in the participation of the global community to make sure that we come up with best practices that can be distributed throughout the world, if not the country. We want to focus on ways that we can leverage social media with some of those who are already doing the great work around social media with the leadership of Ronald Moten and as many people who like to be a part of the Creative Content Coalition. And we should have, a way for you to get in contact, but we're going to have a website up, creativecontentcoalition.com, creative coalition, creativecontentcoalition.com. If you have an organization that's already doing the work, this is in no way, someone trying to boil the ocean. We're trying to leverage as many of the best and brightest folks who are interested in solving once and for all the issue of gun violence killing our babies. We want to make sure we stop that, period. Some of the things we're also doing around technology, as you know, we host a thing called the Black Blockchain Summit at the Howard University every September, which is going to be September the 21st to the 23rd. And we have white papers that we've had research papers actually submitted on how best to use blockchain technology and other technologies in order to prevent gun violence with our children. One of the models that we're right now in the process of actually using is a model that's often used by with Google and some of these other big search engines to market. We're doing some micro targeting, and we're literally using some artificial intelligence to help identify what are some of the things that potential shooters might do prior to committing their crime of shooting folks, or figuring out what some of the folks do who actually buy illegal handguns before they purchase, and literally use the same tactics. You know how, like, if you're thinking about going on vacation, you'll start looking up things on your phone related to some type of travel. Next thing you know, you're getting some airline company sending you, or travel agent sending you different advertisements. Well, what we said is, what if we turn that around? Instead of us using these capitalist models to get people to consume, suppose we identify the behavior types of those who typically are looking to buy illegal handguns, or who are looking to commit a crime of murder using or shooting someone with an illegal handgun. What if we were able to send them a message to de-escalate, a message that would inspire them or give them an alternative way of life, an alternative way of moving forward without perpetrating the crime, and using the same technology that makes us eat these hamburgers. Like, again, hamburgers aren't even good for you. And now I do eat dead animals, so I do eat some beef, but McDonald's is not the best way. There's no hating on anybody's McDonald's, but but they send and spend so much money marketing to us. Hey, you deserve a break today, and next thing you know, I'm back in McDonald's. So if we could use the same or similar technology to, instead of getting people to do things that aren't healthy, we'll use that technology to help prevent folks from actually engaging in illegal gun crimes. So these are some of the ideas, some of the things that we are building through this Love and Protect Our Children initiative, campaign, movement, and through the Creative Content Coalition. We're using that as a way to organize influencers throughout the world. If you have some influence, please, share this information with them, because we want to make sure that those people are incentivized, or they see the validation of the work they're doing as positive. Just as much as they get validation for talking about crime and calling folks out their name and things like that, as a community, we can give those same folks positive reinforcement for doing positive things. And that community is us. It's nobody coming. We're the community. And as you know, the folks who are making lots of money to get us consumed aren't spending money on positive content. They're spending money on those negative things. And creative people can probably go either way, as we've seen. They can They can actually talk or present positive images or negative. But as a community, we can start doing something that we always talk about, but actually put in the work. If we have people doing creative content that's positive, we need to support them. That could be looks, like we give them more likes. We identify, this week's creator or this day's creative content creator of the day, and we all go and follow and give them likes. Like right now, people are literally posting negative things to get more likes, more, and things that are self-destructive. Now we all have the ability to push a like button. So let's again be the organized people that use that reinforcement and that validation and feedback for the positive. Give a shout out on our email info at iloveblackpeople.com. Join us on our Saturday calls. We have a Saturday call every Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we literally have members throughout the world sharing the work that they're doing in their communities. We're going to be turning that up on the issues related to gun violence and drugs, as well as making sure that we talk about the things that are being done successfully by our members and by regular folks like you. Like, again, thank you so much. I am because we are.
This is I Love Black People Radio on HUR Voices, Sirius XM, Channel 141. I Love Black People is more than a radio show. I Love Black People is a call from our ancestors to protect us from racial profiling all across the world. Go to iloveblackpeople.com and become a member today. Membership empowers you to live fearlessly and protect Black people globally from racism and xenophobia. Join us today and become a member of our global network with an online global green book with Black-owned and Black-friendly businesses to protect you and your community. Membership is free, and with you, we will become 10 million strong worldwide.